And good evening, guys. And what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for another live review of 205 Live from last night's edition, the July 24th, 2018 edition of 205 Live. That's like SmackDown Live, took place in Evansville, Indiana. We had two matches on the show that were just like not bad, but nothing really too spectacular. Like nothing really. I mean, the second match felt a little bit pointless, even though it was supposed to kind of tease, a new feud starting up between the Lucha House Party and Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy. And of course, the main event was good also. Still didn't think it was one of the stronger episodes of 205 Live I've seen in a while, but it was still a good episode, I thought. I enjoyed it. But let's get right into it real quick and let's just talk about go through this episode. So we start off with, a recap package of Drake Maverick giving us a little bit of background of the four men in the fatal four-way match for the Cruiserweight Championship, #1 contendership. Mustafa Ali and Deo Tommy have already both failed to Cedric Alexander, but Maverick was impressed enough with their recent showings to give them another chance. Drew Gulak has tapped out every member of the Lucha House Party as part of his quest for a better 205 Live, and TJP finally turned his complaint into a meaningful win when he submitted Noam Dar last Tuesday. Now we're going to find out who gets to challenge Cedric Alexander next in that fatal four-way later on tonight. So we started off with a dark room selfie with the Brian Kendrick and gentleman Jack Gallagher. And Gallagher says he's proved himself to be one half of 205 Live's top tag team, but many have forgotten how dangerous a singles competitor he is. He's going to prove it tonight against Akira Tozawa, the guy who just lost to Lio Rush in last week's pretty good main event. So we had our first match, which was Akira Tozawa taking on gentleman Jack Gallagher. Match wasn't too bad. Tozawa picked up the win. Some good back and forth action. Afterwards, we had Tozawa walk over to Drake Maverick, and it looked like he was pretty much implying that he wanted another shot at Lio Rush to prove that he is more than people are claiming he's going to be. Especially how Lio Rush talked bad about him last week. Got that, but I'm really starting to not really, want to see Jack Gallagher just go back to his babyface ways. His heel run, it's been all right. I appreciate they tried this alliance with him and the Brian Kendrick, but I feel like he was getting somewhere a little bit more further as a babyface. I felt, and I think with Triple H in charge, I feel like he would go a lot further in his babyface character. So I think it might be time to consider putting Jack Gallagher back in that babyface role that he was before he turned heel and joined forces with Gulak and Gallagher. I mean, well, I'll share my scenario later on down the line. So yeah. Anyways, we then had TJP backstage saying he is impressed that Drake Maverick finally did the right thing. He'll make the most of his opportunity tonight. Hideo Itami says something in Japanese, and he starts to look past the match tonight to promise he won't lose to Alexander a second time. We have a backstage promo with Kalisto and Lince Dorado, or Lince Dorito, as Drew Gulak called him. They were running down Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese right after Vic Joseph informed us that Nese couldn't be there. He also informed us that Grand Metalik is out of town dealing with a visa issue. Man, what's up with people doing visa issues? We had Grand Metalik, and then before it was Authors of Pain. So I guess people in visas aren't getting along too well these days. So we had the Lucha House Party taking on two jobbers, which, I mean, I guess, they couldn't really do anything with them this week since, Tony Nese was not there. So just had Buddy Murphy watch backstage. But I was like, okay, Lucha House Party taking on two jobbers. Didn't really care too much, but they get the win as, much needed. Gulak, those then in the locker room, he says matches like the one he's booked for tonight are emblematic of everything that's wrong with 205 Live, but whoever steps to him will tap out. Then Ali is getting his moment to talk. He said all he needs to do tonight is weather some bone-crushing kicks from Itami, take whatever TJP throws at him, and deal with the torture from Drew Gulak. Not a problem, he says. We have Dasha Fuentes interviewing Lio Rush, asking about Tozawa asking for a rematch, and he says he's already won that fight, so he pretty much doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. And then we had our main event, the Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contendership for the Cruiserweight Championship, which was TJP, Mustafa Ali, Hideo Itami, and Drew Gulak. I thought this was a pretty good match. I like how at the beginning, TJP was, being, kind of like, I'm not saying like all these guys are, cowardly heels or not, but TJP seemed to be the one who was trying to, direct traffic at the beginning, getting all the 3 heels to team up on the one babyface Mustafa Ali, which I like to bring out. They brought out more of the underdog, comeback character in Mustafa Ali as well. Unfortunately, though, there was a mishap there where TJP went to roll up Drew Gulak, and Itami broke it up. This because TJP and Itami go after it. But then later on in the match, we have Itami and Gulak implode, with Gulak saying how he respects him, shake my hand, and he slaps him across the face. And then they started to brawl as well. Of course, my favorite sequence, of course, was towards the end, where it looked like Mustafa Ali was gonna win with the 054, but then Itami pulled him out. He did that running drop kick on him thing, slam with Ali against the steel steps, which looked pretty painful. He then would smash him against the turnbuckle pole out, the steel post outside, and then he was like he was about to get him in there to get the victory over him, but then Drew Gulak came out of nowhere, pushed Itami into the post. He got in there, and then Ali was already half out already, but then he put in the Gulak to get Ali to pass out, and Drew Gulak is now your #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, which I think is the right way to go. Yeah, I've been very impressed with Drew Gulak even more. Well, I was starting to get a little more behind him when he was getting to the #1 contendership when Enzo Amore was around as Cruiserweight champion. But then I really got into his heel character after the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. So I definitely think they built him up very well. I think he is ready to be considered a Cruiserweight champion. He could be someone I wouldn't mind seeing win the Cruiserweight Championship either. And what I think they should do is have that happen, and then have him and Kendrick turn on Jack Gallagher, and eventually have Gallagher and Gulak feud for the Cruiserweight Championship down the line. So good main event. Fortunately, the rest of the show is all right. The Tozawa and Gallagher match was okay. Lucha House Party and the Jobbers match was what it was, pretty much. So because of that, I give this episode of 205 Live a B. A solid B. So, yeah, what grade would you give 205 Live? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, sure to click my like, give us power content on the channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. And I'll be back up here later on tonight for my live review of this week's episode of NXT, featuring the NXT Championship match between Aleister Black and the Sicilian psychopath himself, Tommaso Ciampa. So we'll look forward to talking about that later on tonight. So until then, guys, I am checking out. I will see you all later. Have a great day. Peace out, everybody.